Panel discussion number 3, whose topic is leveraging digital transformation initiatives through technology-based solutions for citizen-centric approach. First of all, I would like to request our moderator for this session, Sri Amit Kumar Singh ji, Executive Director, Deloitte India, to kindly come and join us on the stage. Can we welcome him with a big round of applause? Shri Vivek Meena ji, Deputy Director, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, to kindly come and join us on the dais. Can we have a big round of applause for all our dignitaries? Moving on, I would like to request Srimati Rachna Srivastava ji, Deputy Director General and State Coordinator, National Informatics Center, MeitY HQS, New Delhi, to kindly come and join us on the dais. Last but not the least, I would like to request Shri Om Prakash Subbarao ji, Ayushman Bharat Digital Health Mission, National Health Authority, Government of India. Can we have a big round of applause for all our dignitaries? And from here on, handing it over to our moderator, Shri Amit Kumar Singh ji. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to start on the lighter note, if you look at, if you followed the recent Asia Cup, right? The first match we were I think around 4 at 60, right? And then the middle order took up, and then we reached to 260. So we have been blamed for this delay. The panel won. So would like to course correct, and also would request my panelists to support in terms of, we have to, I think, conclude this session in 35 to 40 minutes. And what I request is, because obviously the themes are honestly similar, right? Because everything is all about government, digital transformation, focusing on citizens, right? And if you look at this also, we are talking about the citizen-centric approach. So basically all about the user experience of citizens, experience of residents at large. So I would request that, if you can share your experience, maybe, not to repeat what has already been said, especially because I see this is a heavy Jammu and Kashmir heavy panel, accidentally. So there are a couple of them, and there are a lot of Jammu and Kashmir, so good to know, good to see. So obviously, you can make your distinct point so that, we can try and wrap it up in 35 to 40 minutes. At the same time, we should not lose, in terms of if there is important point to share, we should definitely share, we can definitely make up for a time. But that's my request. So I will, I'll start in no particular order, but the only order is that I would start with the host, Amitabh Thakur ji. So, IPS Transport Commissioner, Government of Odisha. And obviously, IPS, you will always remember the IPS background, but then IPS are also serving in other departments. So over to you, sir, in terms of, the areas of the projects or the interesting ones, emerging tech you want to share.
Thank you so much. A very warm good afternoon to everyone. For all those who are visiting Odisha for the first time, you would have known by now the motto of our government. The motto of our government is 5T model of governance, which includes technology. And this is why all of us are sitting here today. I'll begin by narrating my experience when I was SP of this particular place. I was the SP of Bhubaneswar many years ago. And at that point of time, the office of the SP, which still is, used to be next to the RTO's office. And there was hardly about 100 meters distance from the RTO's office to the SP's office. And many a times, SP was required to send force to the RTO's office for dispersal of crowd and for taking action against the touts. And now, in my present avatar as Transport Commissioner, I was very happy to inherit a system wherein you hardly had any footfall in the office of the RTO. And that is all because of the technological innovations as per our 5T model of governance and automation that has been brought about. Now, anybody who goes to the RTO's office, he knows when he can book his slot online, and even after he reaches the RTO's office. All he has to do is to get a token. He'll get a particular number. He has to write for what work he has been there for. And then he'll be also allotted a time and which window to approach. So there's absolutely no interference of anybody from outside. He goes to that particular window, he gets his work done. And this was introduced by Odisha some years ago, which is called the Smart Queue system. So, and going further on this, many of the services now we have made it faceless. When one can get his learner's license while sitting in the comforts of his home. If somebody who is not very proficient in computers, we are also integrating with MeitY Kendras, which is again a tool to provide computer-based services to the citizens. And there are MeitY Kendras all over the state. ऐसा ही हम लोगों ने अभी काफ़ी काम किया है, in which another good thing is that, your registration of your vehicles, while earlier one had to go to the dealer and then go to the RTO's office and look for a number, particular number, and then he would be made to run from one pillar to another post. All those things are gone. You go to the dealer, you buy your vehicle, the dealer uploads everything that you have to provide, your Aadhaar card, everything. And then, by the push of a button, the dealer sends it to the RTO. RTO authenticates all the documents, and he just pushes a button, a number is given, and you get your RC. You don't even have to step out of the dealer's office. So you, without even stepping into the RTO's office, you get your RC. So there are so many things that have been done by the government of Odisha. And going further on this, now we are also introducing vehicle location tracking devices and everything, so that we can keep a tab on every vehicle. We have already introduced e-detection system, which has also been copied by many other states. And we have also copied many things from other states. So these are all steps in the right direction, use of technology, use of automation. In सबसे हमको फायदा ये हुआ है कि now we can proudly say that our RTO offices are tout free. किसी भी बिचौलिए का उधर पे, nobody has any say there. And not only that, we also have a system of feedback wherein you can give your feedback. Today, while I was driving here, got a tweet which was forwarded to me by somebody about some auto driver driving while he was speaking on the mobile phone. All that lady did was take a video of that. She sent it to us. And by the time I could reach here, we had already challaned that auto driver. And we are in the process of now soft launch an app wherein every citizen can approach the transport department and report about traffic violations, about not being somebody not following the traffic rules and other safety parameters, and we can take action immediately. Of course, I'm like Principal Secretary Home Telangana is sitting here. They have gone very far as automation is concerned, but we are catching them very fast, and we can proudly say that we have a very robust system of governance here, wherein people without stepping in outside their homes can avail of so many services, and there is complete transparency in whatever is being offered. Thank you so much, and I hope I have kept my time limit.
Yes, thank you very much. So I think, thanks for the inputs. I think the HLS and the transport, I think we have covered at large today in terms of we came to know different kind of applications being used from different panels. So I'll just move on to Dr. 𝐃𝐢𝐠𝐢𝐭𝐚𝐥. He's a Secretary Department Revenue, J&K. So Department of Revenue obviously is important, but I'm sure you'll share your experience prior to that also in terms of the overall, different kind of similar approach, similar application.
First of all, thank you all the panelists, and thank you to the organizers for such an enriching session throughout the day. It was really amusing to learn that the various innovations and the good work which is happening across the country. I also want to share what Jammu and Kashmir is up to. We started late because of our own challenges in the past. We have major issues. We all know about that. But despite of it, our appetite for the digital learning, digitalization, and digital transformation has been unprecedented. As one of the panelists in the morning said that if we have to really grow, we need to think digitally. I think this was a very valid point because generally in the rut of things, in the swiftness of things, we are in the habit of doing digitalization. We are without actually realizing about the digital transformation. But I'm happy to share that government of Jammu and Kashmir is really working very hard on GPR. We call it Government Processes Re-engineering. Every smallest of process in the government, we really want not to cut these steps which are not relevant for the people's point of view. That indicates our appetite. On a lighter note, the heavy panel of Jammu and Kashmir also indicates our appetite that we really want to learn fast. And I just want to share certain field experiences. I remained Deputy Commissioner of one of the toughest districts, Deputy Commissioner Anantnag, Ganderbal in Kashmir Valley, and then Udhampur, before moving to the Secretariat as Secretary Revenue. I just want to share my field experiences of Jammu and Kashmir and our tryst with digitalization and digital transformation. One of the projects we did in Udhampur when I was Deputy Commissioner Udhampur was Project Sakoon. Later on, we get National E-Governance Award for it, gold category in 2020. The project was for relief disbursement to there is something called State Disaster Response Fund, which is given to the relief victims. Unfortunately, there were a number of cases which used to linger on for say 2 months, 3 months, killing the very purpose of relief. Relief should be immediate succor. Relief should be immediate, and if it is not immediate, not in next 2-3 days, the purpose is defeated. Then it will be just charity down the line. And we as a government believe that there should be immediate relief to the needy people. So the project was launched. Obviously, one thing I want to highlight here is that the problem statement should come from the ground. Ground means the field formation. Normally, in the government, sometimes in the haste of doing things, we impose IT. IT cannot be imposed. The problem has to first identify. Problem has to come from the ground. Then we have to find out what is the way out so that our people down below can be helped out. This was one project I can say, after working say 6 months with all the stakeholders, we could come up with a software solution which not only captures the case, but also disburse the payment in flat 15 days. Any patwari down below not ready to do the payment in flat 15 days, that he is going to have the censure from the Deputy Commissioner. So this was the level of it. Another, you all must have heard about the Amarnath Ji Yatra, which concluded recently. I was looking after one of the axes called Pahalgam axis. I have been handling Yatra in one or other way for last 5 years as Deputy Commissioner Ganderbal and Anantnag, and very recently as the in-charge secretary for one of the axes. We introduced the feedback mechanism from the citizens. We all can imagine it's not easy to put the systems in place for such a tough yatra across the length and breadth of it, but we want further to improve on it with the citizen feedback. So elaborate mechanism with the team full-fledged working 24/7, taking feedback of almost 1,000 people, none less than the head of the state, head of the UT used to see that feedback. What is where? What is wrong where? I can tell you frankly, after 15 days, so even not capturing the feedback, once we used to tell that, ye shayad feedback mein aapka aa raha hai, that department, that line department was on the toes to have it rectified. That is the beauty of having the digital feedback and sharing it in a real-time basis. Again, one of the projects we did in district Anantnag was, there's a national project called Swanidhi, Street Vendors Program. We got a Prime Minister Award for Excellence in last year, in 2021, for that program. Now we see UPI everywhere. Small street vendors having UPI. This was not the case when it actually come up. So there were a lot of resistance, there were a lot of hesitation, there were a lot of fun that UPI laga rahe hain, kaise hoga? But the way it has picked up, the way it has transformed these street vendors, the local people, it absolutely is amazing. Speaking from the field experience in a place like Anantnag, I can absolutely tell that those who are stakeholders, if the stakeholder is getting the benefit, they are going to grasp it. So it's not the other way around. Government is just the facilitator. When we able to convince them that, look, this is going to benefit you, please allow us to have a US session in the municipal town hall committee Anantnag. They were all together supportive the government initiative. Down the line, after a year, we could see the benefits of it, and it was recognized at the national level by the Honorable Prime Minister. Now coming to the revenue department, which is my present assignment, I think is the most challenging department in the way because the volume it handles. It's a department with the highest level of interface with the public on the routine basis. We issue more than 2 lakh of documents on a regular basis. It's not just the issuance, but the time is very important. Presently, Jammu and Kashmir has more than 1,000 services which are online. There is none service which is offline presently. And daily we are looking for the small processes even, which we want to have it on the online mode. Like yesterday only we discovered there are 6 small processes which we want to have onboarded on the online module, and we are working on it. A lot of projects like 𝐃𝐢𝐠𝐢𝐭𝐚𝐥 is a very, some of the speaker mentioned about 𝐃𝐢𝐠𝐢𝐭𝐚𝐥 earlier, about in the GIS module. These are the projects, these are not just e-initiatives, but they are changing lives of the people. As a revenue officer during the field days, I can tell you, 𝐃𝐢𝐠𝐢𝐭𝐚𝐥 is for the Abadi Day area. If any can understand, Abadi Day area is, there is no land document, individual land document. Meri zameen ek Abadi Day area mein kahan hai, I was not having any document. Because it's such a tough thing to have, to do over a period of time. Now with the 𝐃𝐢𝐠𝐢𝐭𝐚𝐥, we are mapping with the drones, a small area, land parcels are being mapped, and an ownership document is being given. So kind of identity, IT has given identity to a person that you own something, which was not there. So these are few examples, but I'm pretty sure everywhere good work is being done, and same is the case with Jammu and Kashmir, and we really want to pick up fast and want to be best, one of the best in the country, and work is being done on the API as well. We are coming up with chatbots, because the number, as was mentioned in the morning, one of the country, I think Lithuania was mentioned that 90% of the work is being done just by the $10,000 se niche ka fine wahi kar dete hain. We want to focus on that because we know that routine queries like is certificate lene mein, caste certificate lene mein kya cheezein lagti hain. So rather than having a manual interface, we have given the FAQs to the chat box. We are under the process of working on it. So this is all small I can share, but thank you so much for such an enriching session. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think your colleague has already invited us and we have accepted. So we are looking forward to our Kashmir visit in December. So we will look forward to see some of the good initiatives you talked about. So moving back and still being still around J&K, so Suraj Prakash ji, the Special Secretary, Disaster Management, Relief, Rehabilitation, Reconstruction. So obviously the area which you are handling, the technology, I mean this cannot be handled without technology, right? Technology has a very, very huge scope in that, effectiveness and everything. So share your experience, how you are managing.
Very good afternoon. Respected seniors, dear colleagues and other friends. So since disaster management came into force in 2005 through an act, and in J&K in 2007 rules were framed, and state disaster management plan was made in 2015. Since the department was very new and technology for this department was a faraway dream, but anyway, the government of J&K in collaboration with NDMA has taken number of steps in this regard. First of all, as our Secretary Sir rightly said, that Amarnath Yatra is a very big yatra in our J&K state, where people across the country do come to pay pilgrimage to Baba Shri Amarnath Yatra ji. And most of the time, the weather remains mostly unpredictable, and yatris get stuck en route. So a bulk message system was put in place through common alert protocol, and that paid good results. Incidents were most of the incidents were on time. They were prevented from occurring. And in our state, there is a hierarchy of the structure of the disaster management. At district level, DC, Deputy Commissioner is the chairman of that area. And at divisional level, there is a divisional commissioner. And state level, it is LG Saab. And there is a committee that is called a State Executive Committee headed by our Chief Secretary Saab. And all these institutions are grouped in the same system, and by which when we share the message, if a common person shares a message, that directly goes to our State Emergency Operations Center, either at Srinagar or in Jammu. And now recently Government of India has introduced ERSS, and that has been also made applicable in our state. That is the 112 number for across the country. In case of emergency, if anyone, any individual gets entrapped in any disaster, if he dials 112, that message goes automatically to the State Emergency Operations Center, and he can be helped by that particular area. Like if suppose if he falls in a particular area, the Emergency Operations Center conveys to the concerned police station or the local that this person has been trapped at this place, and so kindly help him out. And now there is another application now JNK we are being now implemented, but it is still being launched on 27th of September. That is regarding earthquake. And Government of India through MHA department and NDMA, which comes under the MHA, they are going to launch it in 27th September. And our JNK is one of among those states that will be in the first base that will be started through the designated officers through Google Mode. And instead, mostly the district disaster management authority chairmen, those who are dealing with the disaster, they will be involved in this. And the person who has access to that Google Mobile, Google app, they will get an alert when there is apprehension of 4.5 and above scale of the earthquake. So it's an advantage to our disaster department, and these were the mainly new initiatives that are still prevalent in our JNK state. And thank you so much. If there is any query from anyone, they can ask me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I'll move on to Ashok ji. So basically, we heard a lot about, education, the things which you are doing. Anything extra you want to share, which was not covered in the last session?
A warm good afternoon, everyone. My senior colleagues have already spoken a lot with regard to Jammu and Kashmir. After abrogation of 370 and particularly 2020, we have moved very fastly in implementing the digital technologies. I will simply stick to education department right now. Once there is an identification of a problem, then we have to go for a solution. There was one major problem in the school education department, that is with regard to absenteeism in the far-flung areas. We have a hilly terrain and schools are located at distant locations. Mostly teachers don't attend their duties. So we came with a solution, the school education department came with a solution, that is a mobile application, JK Attendance. That is face recognition and GPS location. With the implementation of this app, 100% attendance is being achieved in the schools, and the education system has improved. Another solution which we came with regard to the dropouts in the schools. I have also headed a district which was adjoining to 𝐃𝐢𝐠𝐢𝐭𝐚𝐥, and that district is having an area of 8,000 square kilometers, scattered population, totally hilly terrain. And the literacy rate was very low. In 2011, it was around 56%. Then female literacy is also very low. And I also observed that there is a lot of dropouts, particularly in the female children. One app was developed, that is Talash, by the School Education Department, and a survey was conducted in collaboration with UNICEF. And 27 lakh students have been registered on that app. And identification of more than 90,000 students in the age group of 6 to 18, they were also registered and they have been brought back to the institutions and they are being tracked. So this was a solution to the dropouts. And further, the dropouts at different levels are also being monitored by this app. Then there is one feedback system now in order to improve the quality education that has been implemented, that has been launched. The feedback with regard to the teaching practices by the teachers from the students. The students, that app is Samiksha. The students above 6th class to the 12th class have been registered on that app, and they monthly give a feedback. They have been provided a username and they get the feedback. They get a OTP on their registered mobile numbers and they give a feedback. And that is helping the education department for capacity building of the teachers. And also we are recognizing the efficient teachers by that app so that a quality education can be imparted. So I will be brief as suggested by Amitji. So these are the 3 applications which we have recently implemented, and a lot of improvement has been seen in the quality education in School Education Department of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. So I'll move on to Vivek Meena ji. Vivek has come from MCA. So Vivek, I think MCA undertakes a lot of digital transformation, complex project. Recently they have undertaken a complex transition of MCA 21 as well. So with regard, share your views and anything else you want to share.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll just introduce the functions of Ministry of Corporate Affairs before I go into the topics I want to discuss. So right from the birth of a company to its death, all the regulatory functions with regards to the corporate governance is taken care by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So whether it's with respect to the competition aspect of the companies, the bankruptcy, or the normal incorporation or the liquidation of the company. So MCA has to do the fine balancing act of improving the ease of doing business as well as taking care of the corporate governance in India. So with that, I'll start discussion. So there are 4 areas which I want to discuss here. So one of the initiative that we took for improving the ease of doing business was the launch of a integrated incorporation form, which we named as Spice Plus form. So through this one form, we provided 11 services to all the corporates. Once filed by the company, we will provide the name reservation, the incorporation, the DIN number, PAN, TAN services, the EPFO ESIC registration, along with professional tax registration for 3 major states, Karnataka, West Bengal, and Maharashtra. Shop and establishment registration for Delhi. And then we also integrated with the bank. So the company will get a bank account also. The idea was that once the company has filed the form, after the approval of this form, the company can go ahead and start its operation. There will be no bottlenecks from our end. We also did some changes at the back end to do the government process re-engineering to improve the processing of the forms as well. So at this point of time, let's say if a company has filed all the documents correctly, the company gets incorporated within a day. So if, let's say, I file the form on Monday, from Tuesday onwards, I can start my business. So that is how we've improved the process of incorporation of a company in India. And as a result of this, in 2014, we ranked 134 in ease of doing business. And we moved to 63rd rank in 2020 because of these major initiatives. So this was the first one. The second initiative I want to discuss here is about the compliance management. So in our new portal that we are migrating to, we will be also launching a compliance management system. In this portal, we will not only be taking care of the usual compliance-related defaults, wherein on a fixed day, if you've not filed a document, you will get an alert and the default amount. But we will also be introducing an early warning detection system. This will use a complex algorithm to detect fraud in any of the corporates and throw an alert to the regulators. Similarly, we will also be doing a risk profiling of the corporates as well as the individuals. So whenever there's a filing and the registrar has to examine those forms, they will also look at the risk profiling of the corporate along with the individuals who have filed the document. Later on, we will also be launching an e-adjudication module. So whenever a corporate defaults, there's an adjudication process, the normal court process wherein the person will come to the court and they will put across their point and the default will be noted and an order will be issued. So we will be making the e-adjudication process within Ministry of Corporate Affairs end-to-end digital. So that will include the notices, the hearing, as well as the final order of the company. And let's say the company does not, follow the order of the adjudication, then the portal is integrated to move towards prosecution module of the MCA 21. So it's all end-to-end connected, so that we can expedite the process. And this was very important because we took the decision in background of the COVID issue, wherein the directors or the KMPs could not come to the offices to attend the hearings. Now the fourth one is a futuristic study that MCA did. It was called the Single Source of Truth. So we identified 6 corporate regulators in India that included Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the GSTN, CBDT, RBI, SEBI, and CERSAI. And we aim to, ensure that the filings do not happen multiple times by the corporates. So let's say the corporate has filed a financial statement with MCA. They should not be filing the same statement with CBDT, let's say. Or if they have filed the charge document with CERSAI, they need not file the same information with MCA. And with that, we started the study. We had extensive discussions with all these regulators, and we had come out with certain approaches. Of course, this is a futuristic step, so there are some legal hurdles also involved with data sharing. So we from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs end, we started with this SPICE Plus. So as just mentioned, we have a number of integrations with the other regulators. We are also doing some validations with other external agencies. Later on, we have also signed some data exchange MOUs so that even if it is not real time, we have the data of different regulators so that we can later on validate whether the information submitted by the corporate is correct or not. And based on that, we can take the necessary compliance regulatory actions. Based on our single source of truth study, there was a study taken by one of the subgroups of FSDC, Financial Stability and Development Council, that interlinking of database study has now been put across to FSDC, and it is being taken at the senior level to put some directions so that other regulators also follow through. These are the 4 steps I wanted to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a follow-up question, Vivek. So in terms of, if you look at the last budget, we said, right, the PAN will be unique identifier across systems.
Yes, sir.
So how are we doing it? MCA is promoting that. All these 6 regulators plus others are using that PAN now.
So this decision has been taken, sir, as you rightly mentioned. MCA, because we've integrated with CBDT and we are already providing the PAN services through CBDT. So we already have PAN number of the corporates. For MCA, we take a corporate identification number. SIN number, right. But we also have the PAN number. So we have PAN SIN linking. So in case somebody wants to integrate with us, we will be able to do it because we have PAN information. Other corporates, so other regulators have challenge with respect to PAN submission. So wherever they don't have, this will be a challenge. So CBDT will have to support in that case and provide some API level integration. but the readiness from MCA is already there, sir.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
So obviously, I think what we can make out that MCA 21 plus in the making, right? The one which we had. And I think there is a need of an R also because of kind of corporations we have. So moving on to the Rachna ma'am. So she's a DDG NIC, and a lot of colleagues talked about how effectively they are using e-office. She handles e-office, product. Apart from e-office also, I'm sure she does take care of multiple other things. So happy to hear her views about, the subject.
Thank you so much. We have heard about digitalization to transformation. And still it's so dear to me that I belong to a generation where I used to go with my parents to bank with the passbooks. And I now don't even remember my net banking user ID password. And this is a transformation. And we witnessed the time when we were even washing banana in potassium permanganate or maybe soap water and then eating it. And all these things were delivered at our home during the COVID time. So as I look after e-office, the government did not stop because e-office, web VPN technology, digital signatures technology, people were working from their homes. And if I remember, it was 22nd March when the lockdown was declared, and we all know in government, 31st March is extremely crucial. Nowhere, no single file awaited for processing during that time. So the e-office system prior to, I'll say it was there from 2009, and it did build till 2014, but then there was, as it is a top-driven application, then there was some usage hype, but actually it was during COVID time that people started sending files from their own department to other departments. And that was the game changer for e-office. Today all the state governments, barring 3 or 4, e-office is implemented across 30 states and in process for another 2 more states. And almost 400 districts, all southern states are heavily on e-office. But e-office journey was not the same. And a lot of things are to be done. It is, I would like to mention here that many people ask me whether it is open or not. Yes, it is open. So it's just not that if you have any other application, it can communicate very easily with e-office, which means that you can do your usual business. All the underlying domains have their own internal IT systems. But for approvals in files, they come to e-office. So they can generate their documents in their own domain application and send that document to e-office through APIs. And the filing happens in e-office. And if there is a sanction that is generated in e-office, that document can be sent to the original application. So it is API enabled. And AI. So the first thing which yesterday itself, it was launched by Honorable HM, the translation services in e-office. So if you write your note in English, so it is a Rajbhasha Vibhag initiative where they have used contest technology from CDAC. It has been integrated in e-office. So if you have English text, you can translate it in Hindi. Of course, CDAC has another product that is called Bhashni, which is much more vibrant in the sense it has all the languages. So CPG grants the project which I am also looking after, which is the grievance redressal, that has been integrated with Bhashni platform to give people to complain in their own language, and the person who is not familiar with the language to use Bhashni services for translation. Another application which I would like to talk about is that how it has changed. If you recollect that during COVID time, the ICMR was actually keeping track of how many COVID positive, and they were giving the results. So typically, the COVID test, I mean, if I am the only one going for COVID test, it may take only 4 hours for the results to be given back to me. But during that time, the labs were fully occupied with this. But there was an administrative requirement for every test sample to be accompanied by the SRF form. That is called specimen referral form, which carries some details of the patients whose blood is to be tested for. And we were told that what could be the solution across the country when that SRF forms were piling, and even though the result is ready, but it is not given to the patient. Whether he is positive or not, it may take sometimes 4 days. So the same person, if he has to travel, even if he's, I mean, there are different type of people. I mean, if I know I have fever, so I will probably stay in my home for another 7 days, not go out. But there are people, if there is a fever, and there are number of fevers which are happening in the location at that time, so they may not be that cautious. So when the result is declared after 4 days, you really do not know how many more people have been infested. So we were given this challenge, and from an IC, I take pride that I took the lead. We came out with the mobile app, which the sample collector will fill. So you just imagine that one location, a web application being used to fill the SRF form, and then it is distributed to all the sample collectors. So lab, single source of truth, is coming from ICMR, which whitelist the labs and the lab in charges. And these lab in charges will create the mobile number of the sample collectors and whitelist. Now these sample collectors will draw the sample, and they can fill the SRF form right there on the mobile app. So now it is distributed. A very simple form on the mobile app, and that all those piles of the paper docs, SRF forms, and the pendency was reduced. So basically, I will not take much time. There are 3-4 things which, since I am the provider, if I say application provider side, until we change the narrative to the beneficiary side, the system we create may not provide the complete usefulness. We all went through the colleges. We all remember when we go there. I used to myself, I think I visited 6 colleges and gave my application. Today, when CUET was done this year, so all the universities, all the seats, and all the children, where they want to study, just a single BPR. Scholarships, counseling, admissions, n number of examples are there. So in all the system which we endeavor, so consolidation at the country level, monitoring is extremely important. When we know that somebody is monitoring, we will complete our task. The biggest example is Pragati. Problem ऊपर पहुंच ही नहीं पाता था, पहले ही खत्म हो जाता था. प्रयास, which is consolidation. तो कुछ ये चीजें हैं जो सारे सिस्टम्स में ध्यान रखी जाएं, तो शायद हम पब्लिक को ज़्यादा अच्छा सुविधा दे सकते हैं. E-office is indirectly, you take decisions faster in E-office. So that's from my side. Thank you. I hope I was in time.
Thank you, ma'am. So I think so we have saved the best for the last, and also have realized that since morning we are not talking about health. So we have talked about homeland security, we have talked about education and that element, but we have not talked about health, very important subject. So we have Prakash ji from NHA. So sir, please, all yours.
Thank you. I have the privilege of going last, so you can blame me for if this panel exceeds the time, because we've already exhausted the time. I have what, couple of minutes? Yeah, sure. I'll try and be very brief. I represent NHA, but before I talk about NHA and ABDM, I want to put this in context, because we are talking about digital transformation. because to me, the whole of digital transformation really started with another project, which I happen to be associated with as a core team member. That's Aadhaar. Aadhaar to me was the starting point of all the digital transformation that took place. And I'll talk about NHA and ABDM in that context. Because Aadhaar, as we all know, is the largest digital identification system built anywhere in the world by a government. Because you can talk about the other identity systems like Facebook and all that, but that's all built by the private sector purely for a commercial purpose. But this is a digital identity system which is built purely for public good by the government. So that's a big difference. Biggest in the world. And the beauty of the whole thing is that the entire system has been architected right from that time. And whatever we are talking about as DPG and all that was conceived right then, I would say. Because if you see, Aadhaar provided the identity layer, and on top of it, there are various domains which took advantage of that. The biggest beneficiary of that, which all of us talk about today, is UPI. And in commerce, we are now talking about ONDC. ONDC will do to the commerce world what UPI has done to the finance world. And ABDM will do to the healthcare sector what UPI has done to the financial world. So that in essence is what ABDM is all about. And if I talk about, there are some guiding principles that we have followed for ABDM. First thing is that it has a federated data architecture. So we will not have a centralized data repository like Aadhaar and all the attendant cyber security risks and so on. Everything will be federated. Data will reside where it currently is, but we will still make all the systems interoperable. So that's the beauty of it. And we will have a single source of truth. And the whole thing is going to be wellness and citizen-centric. And privacy and security is built by design. Like I said, it's a federated architecture that we are putting in place. And the whole thing is voluntary participation. So there's no coercion. Like Aadhaar also, there was no coercion. And this is going to be completely voluntary. And it has benefits to everybody, all the stakeholders. If you talk about the citizens, there are at least 3 major benefits that we see. One is it provides discovery, access, and facility to avail health services and products to the citizens very easily, because everything will be available digitally and you can access all the information. Just like you go and Google and get any information, you should be able to we should be able to figure out who is the best healthcare provider, which is the best hospital, and if you have an orthopedic problem in your area, who is a good orthopedician, what are their ratings, all of that. So then that's the discovery, access, and availment of health services. The second is better control over your medical records. Because today, if you see, medical records are not interoperable, and the moment you make it electronic and go one step further and make it interoperable, you can do your diagnostic tests in one place, and then let's say you do your diagnostic tests in Bhubaneswar, and tomorrow you go to Delhi and you want to consult a doctor there. This record should be made available there. And so the ABDM is a mechanism which makes sure that it makes it available. Then there are, obviously that means that there will be no repetitive diagnostic tests. So these are the benefits to the citizens. And to healthcare providers, what are the advantages? Why should they adopt something like this? Teleconsultation is something which took off in a very big way during the pandemic. And the ABDM is something which is going to enable that. You're going to have longitudinal health records. So the moment a doctor is seeing a patient, he has his entire history available to him at the press of a button. And of course, this is going to be completely consent-based, because all the health records are owned by the respective patients, and only if a patient wants to make it available to a doctor, he can make it available. And the beauty is that it's so architected that it will be made available only for the purpose that the patient wants, and only for the duration that the patient wants. So somebody cannot just keep a medical record because he has gone to a doctor for consultation, and then the doctor or the health facility should not be able to use that record for marketing purpose without the consent of the patient. So the consent is can also be time-based, so that's also architected into the system. And to the policymakers, obviously there is the advantage of evidence-based policy making. And if all this is not theory, because today, as we speak, we have more than 44 crore ABHA registrations which have already happened, and more than 2 lakh health facilities have been registered. More than 2 lakh health professionals are registered, and there are more than 30 crore health records which have already been linked. And if you go to AIIMS Delhi, there is this facility of scan and share, also implemented in several other places to reduce the wait time of patients when they go to hospitals. And there are about 61 lakh scan and share tokens which have been generated to date. And there are more than 126 successful integrations which have happened. And there's an initiative of 100 microsites which we have rolled out. I can go on and on, but I think in the interest of time, I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we all are looking up to NHA item and the kind of system which is producing like a DPI, DPG level. Hopefully, we'll be able to replicate to other parts of the world also. So I think that's it from this panel, and thank you very much, everyone, for sharing your views in a sharp and concise manner. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we have a big round of applause for all our bureaucrats who made this session possible? Thank you for your valuable time. Now, I would like to request our bureaucrats to kindly come forward. And I would like to request Shri Rajiv Bagga ji, India Head Government Business DBS Bank, to kindly come and join us on the dais for felicitation. Okay, so from now on, I would like to request all of you to kindly put your hands together during the felicitation of all our respected bureaucrats. Thank you so much. I'd like to request everyone to kindly put your hands together, and can we have a big round of applause for all our panelists. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming and joining, and thank you for for your precious time and for this amazing discussion. And I'm sure this is going to be really fruitful for all of us. And even if few of us are really layman regarding all these things, we have learned a lot today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I would like to request all our dignitaries to kindly come forward for a group picture, and I would like to request Shri Rajiv Baggaji to kindly join them as well.